you ever been in a forest or driven by a forest that just looked like sketchy to be in? You don't want to be anywhere near it. Scary, but not like this kind of scary with like coyotes and bears. More like this kind of scary, where every tree just looks like it wants to fall on you. They're all dead or dying and snapped in half. Could you go in there and just take out those scary trees? And would that fix it? Would the rest of the trees grow big and tall and healthy and grow into mature forests? Or are they too tall and spindly already? What comes up after that? The same stuff or something else?
So this is what happens. See, I'm standing in a wall of buckthorn because behind me here, that dead ash died. Let the light in, and what pops up? It's these ultra competitive invasives. So we've got to stop. We've got to stop these from taking over the whole farm.
All right, so you go in, take out the widowmakers, get rid of all the buckthorn, make sure it doesn't come back, and then I guess plant a bunch of trees, the natives. Would that work? Would that bring back your forest? Well, we hope so, because that's what we've been doing all winter. We've been attacking this buckthorn, trying to get every last one. It'll be an ongoing project. But why is the forest like this in the first place? Don't trees live for hundreds of years? Like, why are they all falling over everywhere I go? It's got to have something to do with the forestry industry. And the way these trees are planted just can't be healthy. Yeah, we're going to try something else because we don't need more of these. We need more of these. Spoiler alert, all those clips of the scary forest are from a farm that we just bought. But you could trade out white pines for whatever your local factory forestry uses, and it would look the same, I'm sure. But we're not going to come onto this land pretending it's a big construction site with heavy machinery or trying to make it pay rent right off the hop. We want to come here and interact with the land and participate in big systems that make abundance for us and for whatever's already here. But before we can do any of that, we got to actually explore the land. So the big project this winter was making a cross-country ski trail through the woods with the ambitious goal of using it to collect sap for maple syrup. The plan was to use the wood from the trees we had to clear to make the trail to boil the sap. We'd ski around the farm to all the maples that are scattered around the woods, collect the sap, and then have a big boil to celebrate a winter's hard work. We had a slow start to the season though, and we lost the snow before we got the sap. Eventually though, the taps did start dripping and we heard that beautiful plink, plink, plink of spring. Within a couple days of the sap starting to run, our reservoirs were full and it was time to start getting ready for the first big boil. With a couple little tweaks, our evaporator worked really well, and yeah, we had a great boil. I'm sure there's going to be more. Sap's still running. But anyways, this is the plan. We're going to farm this land. We've even been working over the last couple of years with a local land trust to refine a farm plan, make sure we're not stepping on anyone's toes or doing things in a way that hurt what's already here. So we don't want to work in a vacuum. If you have suggestions, feel free to reach out. But or just enjoy the ride with us. Let's see what kind of cool stuff we can do in here. The trail has become so much more than just a way to get into the forest. I think I want to be a foot trail farmer now. I think that's what I'm going to call myself. It's certainly what I've been doing all winter. Just walking around, trying to notice things, see how things are going, making little tweaks. So let's, I'll go show you what I mean. Let's go check out the farm, and we'll give you a bit of a tour. Welcome to Valley Grove Forest Farm. My brother and I bought this farm this fall,
And our plan with it is to work at a human scale. We're trying to use as few machines as possible. The biggest equipment we've used so far has been a rototiller and a chainsaw. And with doing things at a human scale, one of the themes we're going to be going with is harvesting things that are already here. So one of the things that we found, now that the fields are sort of warm enough to be in this spring, is our one field here is full of shining willow. This field was planted to pines about 5 years ago. Much of it has failed. We're actually in one of the more successful areas, believe it or not. But all around has popped up these awesome kind of shrubby willows that are going to be great for basketry. So I've been trying my hand at some basketry to mixed results, mostly just trying to get used to the material and see if what we have has any value. And what I found is that, and corroborated by a bit of research, is what you're looking for is these nice flexible tips, this kind of dark red stuff. That's awesome basket material. But where it's a couple years old, it's pretty brittle. It doesn't work nearly as well. The bark breaks. So what I've been doing all spring so far is just coming in and cutting it right at the ground, right, and doing a coppice on as many of these clumps that I can get my hands on. I've been replanting some of the cuttings and making baskets with the tips, but hopefully these grow back a lot straighter this summer, and it'll be actually like high quality basket supplies. Well, before we show off these fields anymore, let's head into the woods where we've been working all winter. So we've hardly even made it like 20 steps and we've already come across our big villain on the farm. This is common buckthorn. We have spent the winter fighting this guy. It's a real pain in the butt. It takes over anywhere where there's sun, so all the regenerating patches in the woods just get full of these stupid buckthorns. We've been trying killing them all winter with a proprietary mix of windshield wiper fluid and herbicide. So we'll tell you this spring if we see some sprout back of that. You're really meant to be killing these things in the fall when they're slurping all the sap down into the roots. They can pull that herbicide down and kill the root system. But we'll see if those winter ones work. Maybe we even try this spring to kill some and see if it even works in the spring. So this is the good pines. This is half of our property was planted to pine trees about 30 years ago. Some less, some more. There's a few various stages. But these are the best ones. Unfortunately, they were planted a little too close together. A good pine tree, you want probably 50% or around between 50 and 30% of the tree to be covered in green branches. These ones may be closer to 15 to 10%. Around the edges, they're a bit better. And there's a few other little pockets, the nicer ones. So I think our goal in here to try to get a bit more light in is going to be to find a tree that we really like. Let's say this one was close to the edge and it still had a bit of its crown. And then take down one tree to the south of it. Maybe not its neighbor. We've got pretty thin soil here. Like I was trying to dig an outhouse here the other day and it's like 2 shovelfuls to get to the bedrock. So probably we leave this one and take one more, maybe the next one, to keep that root system to help with stability. But overall, this particular pine stand is enjoyable to be in. Well, let's move on. Let's go look for some maples and see if the sap's running today. Sugar maples are fast becoming my favorite tree. We've got some big old gnarly ones on the farm and these kind of nice young straight ones, and they just really, they're a mark in our area of a older forest because they can come up in a bit of shade. So they're almost like a sign of hope here, I feel like, on the farm, that we can get back to a more natural state in this woodland. So Gordon and I have spent a lot of time in here making these trails and killing buckthorn and trying to make everything safe, and it feels very much like a reciprocal relationship with the land when now we get to get a harvest of delicious maple syrup from these awesome trees. So we have maples kind of sprinkled around the property, but this area, and then there's one on the other side of the woods, have our best kind of sugar maple population, or where we have most of them. This is a nice area. We've got sugar maples, These are ironwoods. There's a lot of poplars around, so a bit of a mix. It's kind of has the same problem as those pines, where a lot of these trees are a bit too close together. They're going to be tall, they're going to be unstable, and they're already starting to fall down. Here's one that's starting to turn back into soil. So getting the trail built and cleared this winter has been no small feat. So when we were planning it, we made sure to go buy a lot of maples, but we especially tried to make sure we go buy a lot of these guys. These are shagbark hickories, amazing tree. It was our first human scale harvest what's here harvest. We had a mast year on hickory nuts 2 years ago, and those things are absolutely delicious. Personally, definitely my favorite nut. And because of that mast year, I'm excited to see if we get a bunch of seedlings. I noticed some little tiny ones last year. Hopefully they didn't all get eaten by bunnies. It'll be fun to see when the snow's gone how many of those are sticking around and coming up in place of those maples and pines that are falling over. So the way the trail goes, you put your skis on back at the campsite. That takes you up through the pines, around the maples and hickories. And there's a couple different ways you can go, but no matter which way you go, you end up here. Right beside me, there's this great big bitternut or pignut hickory. I'm not totally sure which one it is, even with the leaves on. I find it kind of hard to tell. And it's on its way out. It's all full of holes, a couple dead branches in the crown, and it's looking after its succession plan. Because behind me, there is an outrageous amount of little seedlings. And I'm sure that this tree in its last, well, who knows, the trees take a little while to die, but on its way out, it'll be helping out these little seedlings who are trying to grow up in the shade, giving them a little bit of energy and nutrients. And this is why it's so important we deal with this buckthorn as we find it. This is exactly where the buckthorn wants to grow, in these big kind of open sunny areas. And in a lot of them, that's where it is growing. We'll head to one of the worst patches next and show you just how much damage that plant can do. Right behind me here is one of the worst patches of buckthorn on the farm. It runs along the creek that we built the bridge over for this trail. Kevin and I spent a couple days in there just trying to get all the buckthorn we could. We probably hardly made a dent in it. But we built these slash walls everywhere we went to keep the deer out. And I can actually see deer footprints. They're not really showing up on the camera, unfortunately. But there's deer footprints that come in and then turn to the left and avoid this area, which is exactly what we want. So as soon as the snow's gone and the ground's workable, we can get some wet-loving plant species in there. Probably we'll do some native cuttings from around the property, those willows, dogwoods, but we've also got a bunch of seedling black walnuts, which will do really well in here. And try some more of those oaks, try all kinds of stuff and see what sticks. It's quite a big area actually, so it's exciting to have a good place to plant. Here are the cedars. There's about 5 acres of them. They were planted specifically in the kind of wettest area of the woods, which was a smart move by John, who planted them about 30 years ago. They're doing great. Their crowns are shrinking just like the pines, just like the maples, but I'm way less worried about them just because they're such slow growing trees. They're a lot more forgiving. I already know this is really awesome habitat. Every time I'm near it, I hear chirps and chirps and chirps from squirrels and birds until I get in there, and then everyone's quiet. But on the trail cam, I've seen turkeys and deer and munching on the branches, bobcats hunting in here. So this is a great area. I think because we have a bit more time, we'll plan some projects that use cedar, like fences and whatnot. And as we need fence posts, we'll come in here and open up different pockets just to let the light in a bit more. So this is our big oak. We come out here pretty much every ski just to take a look at it. Pretty much anywhere you are, there's going to be a native oak in your area, and basically all of those oaks are going to be the rock stars of wildlife habitat. These things support more animals and birds than practically any tree around, and that's exactly what we're trying to do on the farm. So I'm seeing a ton of seedlings here, so we'll have to protect these seedlings against that buckthorn too. Make sure some of these oaks can come up. So here's that bridge that we made. It looks a lot more useful now that there's water flowing underneath it. It was skiable, sort of. We probably have to work on the ramps a little bit, make them a bit shallower. But we weren't even the only ones using this bridge. I wish I could get it to show up on the camera, but there's all kinds of animal tracks here across the bridge. When I was coming down here the other day, I noticed that the ground in the stream is already thawed. So I came and planted some cuttings the other day. We'll get a few more today and plant those too. So here's the other half of the maple trees. They're about 1 kilometer down the trail from where we showed you the other ones. We tapped 2 dozen down there. There's probably 50 or so here to tap. But without the novelty of cross-country skiing the sap back to the camp, I just couldn't think of a way to move 50 taps worth of sap back to the campground. So we didn't tap them this year. Maybe next year we'll move the fire pit over here and we can do syrup a little closer to these better trees. Well, the ground's still frozen, so there's nothing we can do yet. But I'm very pleased to report minimal damage on, knock on wood, minimal damage to the hazelnuts, primarily hazelnuts that we planted in the fall. Other than picking up some of the tree tubes you can see behind me and inspecting these a bit more, yeah, there's nothing we can really do until it warms up a little bit more. But I do see the little terminal bud on each of these hazelnuts, and that's awesome. They didn't get chewed. We took our time and loosened up the soil with the broad fork here. We didn't do that the first year, but I think that's going to make a big difference. I'm expecting to see these hazels really take off. We did plant our first round 2 years ago in 2024, and most of those trees survived. We had a big drought last summer, and even with that drought and minimal watering, we hardly did any watering, a lot of those trees held on. Not a lot of growth, but I guess that's to be expected. Well, let's keep on going and look at the rest of the fields. So here we are in the hedgerow, and we found what we're looking for. This is some red twig dogwood, or red osier dogwood. Awesome basket making material for basket weaving. That's why we brought our basket today, to collect some of this to plant in our basket field. So let's get some cuttings of that. Early spring like this is an awesome time to get hardwood cuttings. The stuff that's kind of thicker than a pencil, that's what you're after. That stuff grows really well, especially dogwood and willow propagates awesome like that.
I'm a little bit sad that winter's over. Walking around, just learning about the land and noticing things. It's been so rewarding all winter. I gotta figure out a way to keep these trails up in the summer. Maybe Valley Grove needs a little lawn tractor to manage its 50 acres. When I was out on a ski this winter, I noticed actually a great big apple tree in the middle of one of our fields I'd never noticed before. It just looked like a shrub in a rocky area where the last farmer was putting a bunch of rocks. But I saw these little apples coated in ice, and it almost looked like candy apples. Anyways, I made a note of that, and now it's spring, and it's kind of the last chance to clean this tree up. So since it's along my trail, and I have my tools, let's give this guy a little bit of a prune.
Are you grumpy? You're all done farming? You don't want to farm anymore, Daddy? It's time to go home for lunch? Okay, it's time to go home for lunch. Alright. Gordon says it's time to go. This is our last field. We got these 4 big ones, and then the willow field. Now it's time? No. Alright, Gordy says that's enough work for today. We'll check the... No. We'll check the sap buckets on our way home, and I'll come back and plant our dogwood another time. Alright, let's get going, buddy. So this might look silly, but willows can really grow in wet ground like this. This creek does dry up in the summer. And in terms of the flow of this little creek, I would actually love it to slow down and even dam up and spill over into these surrounding areas. And keep the water on the property a little bit longer would be awesome. So these probably, I expect these will probably grow, and I'm excited to see if they kind of thicken up and become like a living dam.